Hello, everybody. It's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. And this is, I think, a super wrong argument about how well some comic sales are doing and the nuances of how that can be. And I'm going to put the nail in the coffin here and probably make some people mad. We'll see. But first, before we get to that, Fatal, if you haven't backed it yet, why not? Now's a good time. Help us hit that 100K. We're actually super close. It's been really cool to see a steady stream of backers come from I don't know where, but I really appreciate everyone's support in helping us get to 100K. At the same time, Charlie is working. He's working very hard to finish the book, and then it's going to be me working really hard to really finish the book. So I'm looking forward to that. Dracula, if you haven't signed up yet to the pre-launch page, please do. It just helps give me more confidence when launching, and lets me know, I guess this is how you vote with your feet ahead of time. All right, so there's been this argument in comics for years, and I'm kind of tired of it because it doesn't matter like you think that it might matter. The point is, comics are not selling well, therefore, and it's the therefore part, what that means, that I think is really the important argument. So, but everyone gets hung up on, are comic sales good or are they bad? On one hand, people are saying they're doing better than ever. And then on the other hand, they're saying, well, those are, manga sales included in that. You can't, include that. Floppy sales are actually down. They're doing poorly. And there was a whole debate about this just recently, which I watched a little bit of it. But the reality is that there are numbers that you can look at sales numbers if that actually is the argument. But I would contest that that is not the argument. That is what everyone gets hung up on. Okay. So here's LarryComics.net saying, I've been telling you for a year, Flash, and this is in response to Yellow Flash. Sales are solid, far from YouTube bad. I know you're the type of guy that will get out there and see for yourself. So again, this doesn't matter. You could say, hey, Clint, your YouTube channel views are abysmal and they have been for at least a year. You could say that, and you'd probably be right. But the big difference here is, or the point of contention is not YouTube views. It's what is the goal. Like, what are you trying to say, that because your YouTube views are bad or worse than they used to be, that therefore what you're doing is irrelevant, especially in comics? Now, if we look at it in the context of comics, you have no right to be making your comics because your YouTube views suck. That's a stupid, terrible argument, especially because there are comic book creators out there who really don't spend much time at all in YouTube, if any, and they actually have great comic sales as far as the independent comic creator goes. Now, talking about the comic industry at large, Marvel and DC, I get that the conclusion here is, because sales are bad or good, whichever side of the fight you're on, because they're bad, that means that the woke stuff people are tired of, and that is why they're not buying comic books. But I would contend that even if sales are good, if sales are fantastic and the best that they have ever been, it still means that comics have a lot of woke trash in them that a lot of people are sick of and going to other media for. These two things don't have to go along together. That's not exactly the way that it works. It's not always, go woke, go completely broke. You're not going to necessarily go out of business. But I think that your sales would be better if they weren't so obsessed with the woke speak, woke culture, and all that stuff. They would be better. How can I prove that? Well, I'm going to do it by proving the opposite. That comic books that are specifically, tailor their messaging to being an alternative are actually doing very well, right? Those are sales that you could be having potentially elsewhere. Even that, though, I don't really feel like is the best argument. Like, go for the comic content and tear it apart. But it doesn't have to be that comic book sales are dying in order for you to have a valid point. It doesn't matter. It is a moot point. Totally. What it ends up being is more of a bandwagon fallacy, in that we'll see this many people voted with their wallets. that your stuff is trash, or this many people voted that it's fantastic and everything's perfect. That is not the reality. Again, those comic books still exist and they could be judged by their own merit. And you could still have the argument, which I think is the meat of the argument. So why get hung up on comic book sales? I don't know. It honestly shocks me that it constantly is being talked about all the time, like it is some important linchpin to the debate. It is not. I really don't think so at all. It does not matter how good or bad comic book sales are. And presumably, they will get better or worse from month to month in small degrees. And I don't think that actually has anything to do with the larger argument. It's, whatever. It could be any number of things. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm sure there are going to be people that disagree, and that is okay. Uh, Nothing wrong with that. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you haven't backed Fatal. It's a great time to do it. Like this is stupid close to 100K. I'm beside myself. And then also sign up for Clint Stoker's Dracula. We're not launching this until the book is finished ahead of time. Not even that. I want the thing lettered, completely pre-pressed, ready to go to the printer before this ever launches. So quick turnaround time is the goal on that one. Anyway, thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.